Hey there gamers, DreamcastGuy here, and we have some breaking news today, which is that Nintendo just announced the price and the pre-order time for the Nintendo Switch 2 and its accessories. And I'll be honest, I feel like this is very, very, very bad. I mean, I just feel like they're managing to keep the price of the system itself at $450 for now. But even in their own statement, they're pretty much like, okay, the price is going up. But also, controllers are now going to be over $100 each. So good luck playing some of that freaking $80 Mario Kart. Let's talk about this because I feel like Nintendo is trying to do this in a positive light. They're trying to get some positive spin. I think this is still going to be a very bleak launch, but let me explain why. Hi, hope you're having a great day, and if you could, please give this video a like and subscribe if you haven't already. Now, they just posted this like 8 minutes ago, and they said, we've managed to keep the price of the Nintendo Switch 2 at $450. The bundle with Mario Kart World is also going to be $500 still. Here's the prices that have gone up. Now, they did say, okay, look, for those that want to experience some price adjustments in future market conditions, I think 100%, and I would bet money on this, I think right now, Nintendo is just terrified of having piles and piles and piles of Nintendo Switch 2s. In fact, famously, Nintendo has very much mastered the art of false scarcity. They purposely make it where if everybody's trying to get a Wii or a 3DS, if you are just obsessively hunting at stores trying to find a system, if it's always a little bit rare, everybody's going to talk about it more. People are going to find one, and no matter the price, they're going to celebrate when they buy it. I 100% believe that Nintendo was terrified that if they upped the price at all, if there are piles of Nintendo Switch sitting at your Best Buy or Walmart, it looks like it's less in demand. It's like, oh, I don't want to buy that system that nobody else wants to buy. I have a strong feeling, and I could be wrong, I have a strong feeling that this is now costing them more than $450 to make. Like, they're losing money technically on this. I would actually say that there have been certain companies that are basically trying to stockpile stuff in the United States to dodge the tariffs. There's like fluctuating costs in order to move stuff into the United States. And a lot of people have been having trouble with this because when you ship something to the United States, it doesn't just magically teleport here. A lot of times it's on boats and stuff, meaning that a lot of times you end up thinking you're paying, a 12% tariff, and they put it on a boat, and when it arrives a month later in the United States, now that tariff is 800% or something, then you just can't even afford to take it off your boat. This is actually happening right now. So I think that basically companies have been stockpiling stuff in the United States to try to basically beat the tariffs. PlayStation has admitted that they have warehouses full of PlayStation 5s right now so that they can, as long as possible, knock up the cost of the PS5 here in the United States. I think that there is a good chance that a lot of people are doing this, including Nintendo. What does get me, though, is that I think that as soon as this current stockpile runs out, I would actually bet money on the fact that the price is still going to go up. I still think that Nintendo's probably going to try and bump it up to at least $550 next year. Now, I must admit that personally, I am very, very, very annoyed because they're doing the pre-orders on April 24th. I'm about to get bolts screwed into my jaw right here, right here, right here. 4 bolts screwed into the top of my jaw, and yay, that's probably going to be painful. I have no idea, but that's on April 24th. So if anybody happens to get an extra pre-order, my thing is that as much as I've hated the marketing, as much as I'm not wowed by the games themselves, I'm a person that does still review tech. I'm a person that does still play games for work. I'm still curious to play the Nintendo Switch 2 myself because I got to admit, I'm not impressed or wowed at all. And I still will double down on the fact that these prices, just in general, I think are going to hurt the launch because even diehard fans used to, people would post pictures of the Nintendo Switch original with like 5 controllers and buying every game and just hundreds and hundreds of games. If your games cost $80 a pop, if your controllers cost $100 a pop, I feel like you're not going to have that same gotta catch 'em all vibe that typically Nintendo fans have. Like, whenever they released a special edition Zelda controller or Splatoon controller, I love my Splatoon controller a lot and stuff like that. It's a lot easier to buy it if it's $50 or $40 instead of $100. I think Nintendo has found themselves in a weird spot, and they are, as best as possible, trying to navigate what is definitely going to be a very, very rocky launch. Now, my final thought on this is that I want to say I do give props to Nintendo. I am glad that they're definitely eating costs. If you're trying to think that they're not basically absorbing a lot of losses here, they definitely are. I want to give Nintendo kudos. I do think for a fact that not only are they losing money on this Switch 2 price point, they're basically hoping they make it up on that very, very expensive software. I think that we're going to see, honestly, a very, very long console generation. Obviously, the Nintendo Switch 2 generation hasn't even started yet. If these tariffs continue, if this economic stuff in the gaming industry is happening, if so many studio closures keep happening, I do think there is a good chance that the Nintendo Switch 2 is going to be our only system for the next 10 years. Now, obviously, I'm saying that here on April 18th, 2025. So maybe I'll be clipping this in 10 years saying, yep, damn it, I was right. But I wanted to end off by taking a look at a lot of the reactions to it here. Pre-order it while the 90-day pause on the tariffs is happening. Look at these chads not raising the price on us. Stand on business. Hard pass. Games are still $80. That sucks. Not going to lie, that's impressive. I thought for sure Nintendo was going to milk it hard and raise the prices. We all want lower prices, but this is impressive nonetheless. I think the fact that a lot of people are basically like, okay, it's still like I do like this. I still have to pay $80 for a new game and $90 for controllers. I think it's interesting how many people are still stuck on those game prices, because honestly, I am as well. But how do you guys feel about the Nintendo Switch 2? Are you excited to get it? I'm in a spot where I guess now I can't. Unless I'm able to find like a second wave of pre-orders or something like that, or I'm not paying a fucking scalper. I'll be honest. I'm not paying a scalper for a freaking Nintendo Switch 2. I'm not paying scalper prices for a system I don't really want other than like using it for work. But if I can, I still plan on getting one, but I guess we'll see if I'm alive after the surgery. But please like the video. If you could, please give this video a like and subscribe if you haven't already. And please keep dreaming. I do want to say that I find it incredibly bizarre that really, I think these tariffs and stuff, and I'm not trying to get into politics or anything like that, I do think that this is something that is going to delay the launch of the PlayStation 6. I kind of want to do a video about that at some point. That I think the PlayStation 6 was originally supposed to come out in 2028. If prices of every system start going up and up and up, I don't think PlayStation wants to sell a $1,000 PlayStation 6. I kind of feel like until prices come back down someday, I think gaming is about to be in a very strange spot hardware-wise for a while. We'll see, though. Thanks so much for watching that video. If you want to see something else, you can always click this link to see what I put up last, or, subscribe and see what's coming up next. Also, I promise that whatever I do, it'll try not to suck.